Sean Diddy Combs has been making headlines once again, but this time it isn't because of a courtroom appearance, a new appeal, or another civil lawsuit. Instead, the latest twist comes from inside federal prison, where reports of a fight with another inmate have been followed by an unexpected update that nobody saw coming. Despite allegedly being involved in a physical altercation and spending time in solitary confinement, Diddy's projected release date has actually been moved up once again. That development has left many people confused, with social media flooded by one simple question: how does someone reportedly get into a prison fight and then end up getting out earlier? To answer that question, we need to separate the facts from the speculation, because there's a lot of misinformation circulating online. The official federal prison records now list Sean Combs' projected release date as January 24, 2028, 1 month earlier than the previously listed date of February 23, 2028. However, prison officials have not publicly stated that the fight had anything to do with the adjustment. In fact, there is currently no evidence that the altercation itself resulted in a shorter sentence. Instead, the release date appears to be the result of routine administrative recalculations within the Federal Bureau of Prisons, where projected release dates can change because of earned good conduct credits, participation in qualifying prison programs, or other sentence calculations. That hasn't stopped the internet from connecting the two events. The release date changed shortly after reports emerged that Diddy had been involved in a confrontation with another inmate at the Federal Correctional Institution in Fort Dix, New Jersey, where he is serving his sentence. According to sources familiar with the incident, another inmate allegedly insulted Combs, leading to a confrontation that escalated into a physical fight before correctional officers quickly intervened. The altercation reportedly lasted only a short time, but prison officials separated the inmates and placed Diddy in solitary confinement while they reviewed the incident. Because of federal privacy rules, the Bureau of Prisons has declined to release details about disciplinary actions or identify the other inmate involved. The report immediately caught public attention because prison fights usually carry consequences. Depending on the severity of the incident, inmates can lose privileges, face disciplinary sanctions, or even lose good conduct time that could affect their release dates. That's why the latest update seemed so unusual. Instead of being pushed back, Diddy's projected release date moved forward by another month. It's a coincidence in timing that has fueled endless speculation, but legal experts point out that projected release dates are frequently recalculated independently of unrelated disciplinary matters. Until prison officials provide a specific explanation, which they rarely do in individual cases, it would be inaccurate to conclude that the fight somehow earned Diddy an earlier release. To understand why every update involving Sean Combs generates so much attention, we have to revisit how he got here in the first place. The music mogul's legal troubles exploded into public view in late 2023 when multiple civil lawsuits accused him of sexual assault, abuse, and misconduct spanning decades. Those lawsuits triggered a wave of additional allegations and intense media scrutiny. In March 2024, federal agents raided properties connected to Combs as part of an expanding criminal investigation, setting the stage for one of the biggest celebrity trials in a recent memory. In September 2024, federal prosecutors arrested Combs and charged him with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Prosecutors alleged that Combs used his wealth, influence, and business empire to facilitate criminal conduct over several years. Combs pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his legal team consistently argued that the allegations were exaggerated and unsupported by the evidence. The trial, which lasted for weeks, became one of the most closely watched court proceedings involving a celebrity in years. Witnesses testified about alleged abuse, financial arrangements, and events prosecutors claimed formed part of a larger criminal enterprise. Defense attorneys aggressively challenged those claims, arguing that many of the relationships described during the trial were consensual and that prosecutors had failed to prove the broader conspiracy allegations. When the jury finally delivered its verdict in July 2025, the outcome surprised many observers. Combs was acquitted of the most serious charges, including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. However, the jury convicted him on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution under the Mann Act. Those convictions carried significant penalties, though far less severe than prosecutors had originally sought. In October 2025, U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian sentenced Sean Combs to 50 months in federal prison, imposed a $500,000 fine, and ordered 5 years of supervised release after he completes his prison term. Because Combs had already spent approximately a year in custody before sentencing, his projected release date was initially calculated for May 2028. But almost immediately after entering the federal prison system, those release calculations began changing. At first, his projected release date shifted because of disciplinary issues. Reports indicated that prison officials cited incidents involving homemade alcohol and participation in an unauthorized 3-way phone call, both violations of prison regulations. Those infractions reportedly affected his projected release timeline. Yet, over the following months, the date gradually moved forward again through administrative recalculations. What began as an expected release in May 2028 eventually became April, then February, and now January 24, 2028. The Bureau of Prisons has not publicly explained each individual adjustment, but officials have noted that projected release dates remain subject to change based on prison records and other administrative factors. That brings us back to the latest prison fight. According to reports, the confrontation started with a verbal exchange after another inmate allegedly directed insulting remarks toward Combs. Sources claim Diddy responded, and the disagreement escalated into a brief physical struggle before officers stepped in. Reports describe correctional staff responding quickly to separate the men and restore order. Following standard prison procedures, Combs was reportedly placed in solitary confinement during the investigation. Some reports claim Diddy held his own during the altercation, but those accounts come from unnamed sources and have not been officially confirmed by prison officials. Likewise, there has been no public confirmation regarding whether either inmate suffered injuries or received formal disciplinary sanctions beyond temporary segregation. Because of those limitations, much of what is circulated online remains based on anonymous accounts rather than official documentation. The timing of the release date update transformed what might have been a relatively routine prison incident into a major entertainment news story. Headlines quickly suggested that Diddy's release date changed after the prison fight, a technically accurate description of the timeline that many readers interpreted as meaning because of the fight. Those are 2 very different claims. At this point, there is no official evidence linking the release date adjustment to the altercation itself. Instead, both events simply occurred within a similar time frame. That distinction matters because federal prison sentence calculations are often far more complicated than most people realize. Good conduct time can reduce the amount of time an inmate actually serves. Participation in certain rehabilitation, educational, or treatment programs may also affect projected release dates under specific circumstances. In addition, the Bureau of Prisons periodically recalculates inmate records to account for sentence credits and administrative changes. Because those calculations occur throughout an inmate's incarceration, projected release dates can move both forward and backward multiple times before someone is ultimately released. Meanwhile, Combs's legal battle is far from over. His attorneys have filed an appeal challenging both his convictions and his sentence. The defense argues that prosecutors improperly applied federal law and that the sentence imposed was excessive under the circumstances. Federal prosecutors, on the other hand, have opposed those arguments and continue defending the convictions. Appeals in federal criminal cases often take many months or even years to resolve, meaning Diddy's legal future remains uncertain even while he serves his sentence. Outside the courtroom, Sean Combs' public image has undergone one of the most dramatic transformations in modern entertainment history. For decades, he was celebrated as one of hip-hop's most influential entrepreneurs. As the founder of Bad Boy Records, he helped launch the careers of artists including the Notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, Mace, 112, and many others. Beyond music, he built successful businesses in fashion, television, beverages, and media, becoming one of the wealthiest figures in entertainment. Today, however, discussions about his career are almost always overshadowed by the criminal case and the many civil lawsuits that remain pending. Although he was acquitted of the most serious federal criminal charges, numerous civil cases continue moving through the courts, and Combs has denied the allegations against him. Public reaction to the latest prison update has reflected those divided opinions. Some supporters argue that the constant attention surrounding Diddy proves that every development in his case is magnified because of his celebrity status. They point out that projected prison release dates change regularly for many inmates without becoming national headlines. Others believe the repeated adjustments are confusing and have questioned whether enough transparency exists regarding federal sentence calculations. Legal commentators have also urged caution when interpreting the recent headlines. Simply because a release date changed after a reported prison height does not establish a cause and effect relationship. Without an official explanation from the Bureau of Prisons, any claim that the altercation directly shortened or lengthened Combs' sentence remains speculation. For now, the verified facts are straightforward. Sean Diddy Combs remains incarcerated at the Federal Correctional Institute in Fort Dix. Reports indicate he was involved in a brief altercation with another inmate and was temporarily placed in solitary confinement. Federal inmate records now list his projected release date as January 24, 2028, 1 month earlier than previously reported. His appeal remains pending, and prison officials have not publicly explained the latest sentence adjustment beyond updating the official records. Whether this will be the final change to Diddy's projected release date is impossible to know. Federal prison records can continue to evolve as administrative reviews, disciplinary findings, earned credits, and court proceedings unfold. What is certain is that one of the biggest names in music continues to generate headlines, even from behind prison walls, and every new development is likely to attract intense public scrutiny as his legal story continues to unfold. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.